morning, everyone. This is Market Fatafat, the 11:30 edition. You're watching ET now. I'm Karunya Rao, and this is the most comprehensive wrap that promises to spot the hottest movers in the stock market. And over the next 30 minutes, we'll take you through the top buzzers and spot where the big trends are emerging. Let's first introduce our guests on the show. We have Gaurav Ratnaparki from Sharekhan. We have Kunal Bothra as well as Soumya Sharma from the research desk joining us. Good morning, everyone, and welcome on board. Let's start with one of the top laggards in trade today. That's Yes Bank from the benchmark indices, losing big time in trade. And there are a whole host of developments that are pulling the stock lower, that are putting tremendous pressure on this counter. There are two exits in 2 days as far as the leadership is concerned. First, we had Ajay Kumar, who was heading the credit committee at Yes Bank. He put in his papers. Then yesterday evening, there was Mukesh Sabharwal, the director, who also quit Yes Bank. So that's one of the key triggers. Apart from that, Moody's has come out with their view on Yes Bank. They placed Yes Bank's ratings under review for a downgrade. They say that large exposure to debt-laden NBFCs as well as HFCs. These are some red flags as far as the bank's performance in the future is concerned, and that's exactly why they've put it under review for a possible downgrade. Apart from that, all eyes are on the AGM, which is today for Yes Bank. So our reporter is also tracking it very closely. We'll get you more updates. But for now, these are some developments that are putting a fair amount of pressure on the counter. But on the flip side, let's move on to the other counter, which is rallying away once again in trade, which is Motherson Sumi. Kunal, tell us, what is the kind of move that you're charting on this counter, and what are the levels one can expect?
So it's a short-term bounce, Karuna, and I think looking at the way the stock has formed supports around this 110 to 115 zone, I expect that this bounce could last for a couple of days more longer. It's a mean reversion process. The stock has seen some good volume action as well in this consolidation band as well. So now it's establishing a short-term support, but the fact that the stock is going through some process of mean reversion, I believe could see some more upside. So I think 128 could be the next potential target for Motherson Sumi. We'd initiated a buy calls I think a couple of days back on the stock price when it was at 118, 119 levels. Would maintain a hold on that call with a revised stop loss of 116 and targets, as I said, 128.
There you have it, Motherson Sumi, 3% up in trade today. Meanwhile, HDFC Bank, in fact, the entire banking space today is under some amount of selling pressure, and HDFC Bank is also quite tempered, down by 0.7%. Soumya, tell us, what's the development here?
Well, this is what we're gathering from Economic Times reports that the company is looking for and is launching a global search and is looking for a successor for Aditya Puri, since he'll be retiring and will be leaving once he turns 70. And in fact, the board has formed a panel for the global search, and they'll be hunting for his successor both domestically even and globally. So let's see what the decision comes on and who do they appoint once they are finalized on somebody.
All right, another fact that's under pressure is the auto. The Nifty auto index is down, and a lot of these heavyweight names are cracking in trade. Bajaj Auto is one of the top laggards as well as far as the benchmark Nifty 50 index is concerned. And Gaurav, tell us what to expect in terms of stock moves.
Bajaj Auto seems to be forming a base above its crucial weekly moving averages. In terms of price pattern, it seems to be forming a triangular pattern, and currently the stock is forming last leg, that is wave E of the pattern on the downside. On the downside, 2900 will be the crucial support to watch out for, which is near the lower end of the pattern as well as near Delhi lower Bollinger Band. So one can initiate a fresh long position near 2900 with stop loss at 2830. And on the higher side, short-term target will be around 3100. So buy on dips will be the strategy for this counter.
Alright, there you have it. That's Bajaj Auto for you. It's under a tad bit of pressure for sure. Moving on to another counter, DHFL. Let's pull up the stock price in trade and see how it's performing at this point of time. That's DHFL for you on your screens, up for nearly 4.5%. Well, there's a development there in the form of a good news. They have paid more than 960 crore worth of NCD dues. The dues have been paid post sealing another deal on their loan portfolio sales, and they will now be seeking rating upgrades from agencies as well. So some relief coming in as far as the investors of DHFL are concerned, because after so much negative news flow, after so much of volatility, finally seeing an up move on this counter. Moving right on, stock number 6, Kunal. Metals pack on the flip side perhaps is the only sector that's performing well today, and JSW Steel is definitely outperforming. Tell us, what are you identifying there?
Yeah, I think that's the only sector which is sort of bucking the trend today in terms of market performance. Nifty is down, but the Nifty Metal Index, I think the last I saw, was up more than 1.5%, and in the most of the chart patterns now in that category, I think looks attractive from a short-term view. JSW Steel is yet another stock. I think the stock is now seeing a second or the third day of straight price gains. It's going towards a short-term breakout on the short-term charts, and I believe that the stock could be poised for another 10 to 12 rupees upside from current levels. So 285 is where I've placed the targets for JSW Steel, recommending a buy with stop loss at 269.
Despite the outperformance of the metals pack, even JSW has significantly come off from the day's highest point. From being one of the top performers on the index, it's right now up by only about 0.2%. Let's see how the day transpires for this counter. But moving on to our next stock, Soumya, Adani Green Energy. It's a stock we don't talk about very often. Tell us, what's the news flow here?
Well, yes, Gautam Adani and family is proposing to sell close to about 6% stake, which may be valued at over 400 crore rupees via offer for sale. This offer for sale opens for the non-retail investors today and for the retail investors tomorrow, with wherein the floor price has been set at around 43 rupees per share. Also, well, this stake sale comes in since the promoters are wanting to reduce their shareholding in order to comply with the SEBI requirements of minimum public shareholding. Stock, however, stock today is gaining by over 2%.
Well, most certainly it is gaining quite smartly in trade. Moving on then to another name which is on the flip side tanking in trade, and it's Bharti Infratel. Gaurav, tell us what to expect. What is the price levels that you identifying?
Infratel witnessed a short-term pullback over last few weeks. However, on the higher side, it faced resistance near its crucial weekly moving averages. In terms of price pattern, the stock formed a bearish wedge pattern with a mild throwover in last couple of sessions, and today the stock has resumed the larger downtrend. So I'm expecting the selling pressure to continue in this counter. On the way down, the stock has fallen below its crucial hourly moving averages. So I'm expecting the stock to head lower, and on the downside, it can test its April low, which is around 256.50.
Okay, there you have it. That's Infratel for you. It's slipped more than 2% in trade. It's also one of the top losers in the Nifty 50 space today. Let's move right on to stock number 9 and pull up Reliance Capital, because there's been some negative news development there as well. PwC, the statutory auditor, has resigned from their post with effect from 11th June 2019. That's yesterday. The board has also accepted PwC's resignation. Now, what essentially is PwC alleging is that they've noted certain transactions and observations that may have material impact, and the observations may have an impact on their FY19 statements as well. PwC, however, says they did not receive any satisfactory response from Reliance Capital when they sort of alleged about the same, or when they asked for certain documents as well. However, Reliance Capital, on the other hand, says that the company does not agree with the reasons given by PwC. They have duly furnished all the details that were demanded by PwC, and the company will ensure that PwC's observations are fully examined by continuing statutory auditors. The stock, however, is down in trade by almost 2%. Let's move to stock number 10, Kunal. Berger Paints is on your radar.
So it's an interesting chart, Karuna, because the stock had rallied from 300 to almost levels of 330 in a matter of just 2 or 3 trading sessions, and post that it went to a consolidation. Now, generally, when you see such a sharp rally and then a sideways action, you expect that the price could consolidate and then move up higher. Now, we've seen today that the stock has has given that breach on intraday basis about that 330 level. I believe that if the stock sustains this 330 mark today, it could complete this bullish pennant formation, which is a technical term, and could head up higher from current levels. So 345 should be the next target for Berger Paints, provided it closes above 330 today. Stop loss for the trade is 323.
Right, that's Berger Paints for you, up more than 1% in trade. Also, do remember it is an oil-sensitive stock as well, and oil prices have fallen off a tad bit as well, and perhaps that could be a fundamental trigger which is aiding the up move in trade today for Berger Paints. Let's move right on to another stock then. Soumya, India Cements, another stock which is cracking away. Tell us what's the update?
Well, yes, after Jagan government, there are reports suggesting that Jagan government may junk TDP's free sand policy, and this in fact is a negative news when it comes to cement companies, and in fact particularly for India Cements. In fact, they said that the government's earlier free policy resulted in loss to the state exchequer in tune to about 500 to 600 crore rupees, and in fact now they're wanting to implement better sand policy in order to reverse these losses that the state is incurring, and as a result we are seeing India Cements under pressure, falling by over 2.5% today in trade.
That's right, that's India Cements for you, trading at sub 100 levels as we speak. Meanwhile, another stock to watch out for in trade today is TCS. Gaurav, after that fabulous up move over the last few sessions, today we're seeing some profit booking here.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, TCS is trading near a strong resistance zone, which is around 2260, 2280. From this level, the stock had reversed sharply in October last year as well as in May this year. So it's kind of a make or break level for the counter. However, this time the momentum indicators as well as the wave structure suggest that the stock has strength to surpass the hurdle zone. So if the bulls manage to take out the level of 2280 on closing basis, then the stock can stretch towards 2400, 2463 over next few weeks.
Well, right, that's TCS for you, trading at 2,225 as we speak, down by a little over 1% in trade. Meanwhile, another stock to watch out for is Jet Airways, and there's no dearth of news flow, there's no dearth of developments for this particular counter, and this time what we're picking up from sources is that Jet's moves NCLT against Jet Airways. The NAG will file for insolvency resolution under the Section 9 of the IBC laws. They will approach NCLT this week for an insolvency plea. But apart from that, there are a couple of more developments that we've been tracking and we've been picking up from sources. Hinduja Group may meet representatives of SBI CAP and SBI officials this week. They've called for a meeting to take forward deliberations on their investment plan in the debt-laden carrier. Aviation Ministry is said to have intervened in deliberations between lenders as well as Hinduja Group as well. These are some developments that we're tracking with respect to Jet. Meanwhile, the stock once again cracking in trade, down more than 1%. Soumya, Indiabulls Housing, we just had a news flow, we just had a development a couple of minutes ago as well, that they are going to seeking Supreme Court's intervention when it comes to the allegation of misappropriation of funds. What's the development? What are the details, more importantly?
Well, in fact, that's right. That's the latest when it comes to Indiabulls. In fact, the stock's been falling today for the second straight session and is among the top loser on the Nifty index. Apart from this, as far as the stock performance is concerned, it's trading below all the key DMAs. And just like you said, the latest is that Indiabulls is moving to SC against plea alleging siphoning of money from the company. Well, this is by a shareholder named Abhay Yadav, who claimed that the company is siphoning of money, and he's filed this complaint and they've moved to SC in order to give a rebuttal to this shareholder, which they claim is false.
Right, that's Indiabulls Housing, top loser on the Nifty 50 index. It's down nearly 6.5% at this point of time. Next up is another stock that's under pressure, which is Eros International. The stock was in fact hit the lower circuit as well. It tanked. Look at that. It is still locked in the lower circuit. It's tanked almost 10% in trade, and this is on back of the fact that Moody's Investors has downgraded the corporate family rating for Eros International PLC to B2 from B1, while changing the outlook to negative from stable as well. So, given the turn of events that have transpired for Eros International over the last couple of days, and now this Moody's downgrade, the stock continues to bleed black and blue, and right now is also locked lower by 10% in the lower circuit. Let's slip into a short break right now. We have covered about 15 stocks, some more lined up on the other side. So stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Time to get on with some more stocks to keep on your radar, and it's time for stock number 16, which is Reliance Industries. The stock did see a decent beginning at the start of the trading session, but right now it looks a bit tempered in trade. Okay, it has recovered, at least from the time it slipped into the red. It's up by about 0.2%. Couple of developments there as well. First up is the fact that Reliance and BP have sanctioned the third phase of integrated KG06 development. Apart from that, there's some buzz and there's some news reports around the Jio Tower asset sale as well. Reliance Brookfield deal inching closer to both of these entities, Reliance as well as Brookfield, inching closer to a deal with respect to the Jio Tower asset sale. The term sheet also may be signed in the next 7 to 10 days. That's something that we're picking up from reports. Let's wait and see how it transpires. Meanwhile, the stock is just up by about 0.2% in trade. Perhaps it's the overall market mood that's even capping the up move there as well. Meanwhile, DLF, another name from the realty space that's really cracking away in trade. Gaurav, tell us, how are you reading into the chart pattern?
DLF witnessed a sharp pullback in the second half of May, and it retraced 78.6% of the April-May decline. Near the key Fibonacci level, the stock formed a shooting star, which is a bearish candlestick pattern, and as a follow-through, the stock is tumbling down since last few sessions. It is now trading near a crucial support zone, which is around 185-183. Once this support zone breaks, we can witness even a sharper decline. And on the downside, I am expecting the stock to head lower to 165 in the medium term.
Right, that's DLF for you. It's down more than nearly 2% actually in trade. Meanwhile, Just Dial, Kunal, a stock that you've been tracking for some time now. Tell us what's the level that one can watch out for here?
So the stock is now trying to make a comeback of sorts. Karuna, I think the last 3-4 days we've seen a very rare and typical kind of a volatile bottom in place for the stock. It's a very high beta stock. In just the last 1 week, it's corrected from 810 to 690 levels, and now making a dash again towards that 800 mark. So I believe that this volatility into the stock price is probably an indication that maybe the short-term trend is resetted, and you could see the stock moving up higher yet again. So Just Dial could be a interesting buy even from current levels. 810, which was the previous high, I think is a high probability test with the stock could probably go through the next couple of days. Hence a buy with stop loss at 720.
Alright, meanwhile, let's moving on to stock number 19, which is M&M Financial. Gaurav, in the last 1 month, the stock has seen a very smart recovery. Tell us, what can we expect going forward?
If we look at larger picture, we can see that M&M Finance has formed a triangular pattern which is spanning over several months. And recently the stock faced resistance near upper end of the pattern as well as near weekly upper Bollinger Band, and from there the stock has started sliding down. So I'm expecting the weakness to continue from short term as well as medium term perspective. Even the weekly momentum indicator has completed the pullback cycle, and the daily momentum indicator has given a fresh sell signal. So the outlook over here is bearish, and on the downside 380, 370 will be the target area to watch out for.
Alright, that's stock number 19, Mahindra Finance for you. It's down 1.8%. On that note, we'll have to wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Unfortunately, that's all the stocks we will be able to cover in this edition. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Kunal, as well as Soumya for joining in with your inputs as well on the various stocks. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in.